So if you're a venue owner and you're chasing that idea of, ultimate audio control, but you're on a really tight budget, you're going to stumble across the Sound King DP48.
Oh, absolutely. It's this tempting little black box.
It is 4 inputs, 8 outputs, a 30-band parametric EQ, and these really steep crossover slopes.
Which all sounds fantastic. I mean, on paper, it looks like the perfect nerve center for your entire sound system. But our mission today is to really dig into why this very popular $200 unit is what a lot of pros call a false economy.
A false economy that could actually damage your expensive speakers.
Exactly. It can severely degrade them, at the very least.
Okay, so let's unpack that. The specs they list are pretty compelling. You see an M716 DSP chip, 24-bit conversion. But what's really fascinating here is the company itself. This isn't some generic brand.
Not at all. Sound King has real engineering credentials. They've been in the pro audio game since 1988.
And they're ranked, 14th globally? They even supplied equipment for the Beijing Olympics and the G20 summit in Hangzhou.
Right. And that's the irony, isn't it? You have this top-tier manufacturing pedigree, but the design itself has this critical technical flaw right in the signal path.
And that flaw is the sampling rate.
The sampling rate. The DP48 runs at 48 kilohertz.
But hold on, for a venue owner who's maybe just running background music, not doing some complex live mix, does 48 kilohertz really matter that much? Isn't that what people call CD quality?
It matters intensely, and here's why. In 2025, every single legitimate competitor processes at a minimum of 96 kilohertz.
Okay.
I mean, just for context, you look at the DBX Drive Rack PA2, it samples at 96K, costs around $800. But even the Behringer DCX 2496, which is only about $300.
So just $100 more than the Sound King?
Barely more, and it still hits that 96 kilohertz standard. The Sound King is processing audio at literally half the resolution.
So what's the actual consequence of that? What happens to the sound?
Well, the functional consequence is that 48K just doesn't capture enough data points to accurately filter complex audio signals. You start to get digital distortion, something called aliasing, and that puts real stress on your high-end drivers and your amplifiers. The processor just can't do the math fast enough to keep the signal clean.
And when you look inside at the components, you can really see where that bottleneck is coming from. It's using the CS42528 codec chip.
Exactly. And you contrast that with the DBX, which uses these specialized sort of audiophile-grade Cirrus chips.
Right.
Those offer a much, much better signal-to-noise ratio, better processing speed. The components in the DP48 they weren't designed for high-resolution audio management. It's that simple.
We found this quote on an audio forum that just powerfully sums it all up. An engineer called using 48 kilohertz in a pro environment. Trying to paint the Mona Lisa with crayons.
That's a perfect analogy. It really is. The verdict here is peak false economy. You might have spent, say, $15,000 on your speakers and your amps.
A huge investment.
A huge investment. And then you plug in this $200 unit, and you've just turned your entire professional sound chain into a computational choke point. You're processing premium audio at what our sources called smartphone-era sample rates.
So, all right, what does this mean for the person who is genuinely on a tight budget? What are the practical alternatives?
Well, the sources lay out 2 clear paths. If you really need proper speaker protection and room correction, you just have to make the investment in something like the DBX Drive Rack PA2.
Okay, so bite the bullet and spend the $800.
Right. But if your budget truly cannot stretch that far, the much smarter option is the Behringer DCX 2496. It gives you that essential 96 kilohertz sampling for, like we said, barely more money than the Sound King.
It seems like a no-brainer then.
It really is. The ultimate lesson here is that a weakness in one critical component can completely negate your entire investment in everything else. Knowing that minimum technical standard, that 96K, that's what saves you money in the long run.
So it makes you think. If resolution quality is the real dividing line in pro audio, forcing you to spend more just to protect your main investment, where else in technology or even in life might we be creating a performance bottleneck just by underinvesting in a single critical control component? Something for you to consider.